Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mind Matters. I have a very near and dear special guest, Miss Ebony J. Hey,
What
Ebony.
up, though?
How was your
Oh,
day,
man.
girl?
My day was long, but enjoyable nonetheless. It was productive. I
Okay,
think I got a
that
lot
was
of
good.
stuff done, but other than that, it was good. How was
It was,
yours?
it was good. It was good. No complaints. Same thing. Long, of course. Productive.
This
So
heat.
uh, the last 2 or 3
It's
days
the
have
heat.
been ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. So.
Listen, somebody done pissed somebody off to turn on the heat.
Yeah, I don't think God is too happy with what's going on. But that's a whole other story.
Absolutely.
So yeah, do me a favor, introduce yourself to the viewers.
So, hello everybody. I am Ebony, as Kay had mentioned. I'm a mom of three. I'm also a photographer. I do graphic design. I'm a basketball coach. Basically, I do everything. I do hair. I could run a salon if you need. Like, you need me, I got you.
Multifaceted, honey.
Yeah, man. Definitely that, I whatever it is, put me to the challenge, I'm gonna do it.
I
That's
love
who
it.
I am. That's me. But no.
I freaking love it. Woo, girl, we need that energy. Yes.
Listen, but it's
Wake us
true.
up. Wake
It's
us up.
true. It's true. Dead serious. Somebody said to me, they was like, Dad, Eb, you do it all. You do hair too. I was like, I do. And I do.
But like a better question is to ask, what don't I do? That's the
That
better question.
part, that part. I haven't tapped into what I don't do yet. Maybe it's
Right.
whatever I haven't tried. That's what I don't do.
But then
So
when you try it, you're going to be doing it. Add that to your list.
yeah, that becomes a problem sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
you'll be like, "Don't do too much," and I'd be like, "I'm not doing enough."
yeah. I completely get it. I get it. So today we are going to talk about losing control while regaining, well, excuse me. We're going to talk about you losing control while regaining your peace. And I know there are so many people who can relate to that may need to hear your story. So I am very interested and intrigued to hear what it is you would like to detail for us. Give us the juice.
Ooh, y'all want the tea? Okay,
Yeah.
so losing control while gaining or regaining, I'll say regaining my peace. Um, I would say about a couple years back, a couple years meaning like maybe a good 6, 7 years ago. I had been positioned in a situation or a circumstance that I had no control over. And normally I feel like, well, we don't have control over our lives or anything that we're doing that brings us peace, right? Let's say for me, it would be playing basketball. If I'm not doing that, it may not be bringing me peace unless I'm doing something else that brings me peace. So in retrospect, I was in the midst of a separation and everything else. And while that was out of my control, um, I felt I was losing control. I felt like I was losing everything, right? My mind, that felt like the first thing to go because I always was what's considered a people pleaser. And in that, when again, I'm not pleasing myself, not doing what pleases me and doing for others, losing thought or a thought process of how to be who Ebony was, it was tough. It was tough. Um, After that, now fast forward to just recently, and I can say this was back in February, which feels like it was years ago, but it was literally just this past February.
Mm-hmm.
Another situation where I'm losing control and losing control as in there was deaths happening around me within the same week. There were from people near and dear to me. There was a situation where I had to quickly move from my home in that same week of all these deaths happening, right?
Right.
There was other key moments that happened to the point where I literally just said, and I hope I can curse, fuck it.
You grown,
Fuck
girl.
it.
You grown, girl.
Look, fuck it. If this is what it is, this is what it is. Got it. This is where you got me. This is where you got me. Um, the point of the matter is when I lose control or when I feel like I'm losing control, I can't breathe. I get anxiety real bad. I get hives real bad. Um, I also get to a point where I shut everybody out and I shut myself in. I'm
Mhm.
like a hermit crab. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk around nobody. I don't want to be in the space with nobody. And that is that peaceful part. That's how I, again, when I can't connect with the things that make me happy, whether it's taking pictures, whether it's being around my kids, whether it's basketball, listening to music. I'm not a singer, but I will play on a keyboard, something to just relax me. If I can't get near any of that, then I
Right.
shut down.
Right.
And that's the point where I realized I'm like, okay, if I continue shutting down like this, and it's almost like forcing myself to be depressed when I know I can get out of that. I just, it's easier for us to kind of, or me at least, to just kind of sit and be like, nah, you know what? I'm just sit here and feel this way. And if I get out of it, cool. If I don't, cool. But thankfully, a support system helped me to remove me out of those moments and
Okay.
in those situations.
But
However, mhm,
I'm sorry, but I will say something about that. One thing that is important is you do need to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, right? That's how you, in a
yes,
sense, start the
yes,
process. Because what you resist persists. So if you keep resisting these feelings, it's going to
yep,
persist, and it's going to persist even harder because you're fighting
yep,
against this energy and this your emotions when you have to just let them flow. Like,
absolutely,
and it sounds
absolutely,
cliche, like flow like a river, but it's the truth. Like, you really have to literally let them flow, because as they flow, they're going to other parts that they need to belong in, and you're now freeing
absolutely.
up space so you can now become proactive in how you're going to move forward, right?
Absolutely. So I have this saying where I say feel your feels. And it only started for me, like I only literally started learning to feel my feelings when I didn't like what it felt like anymore. If that makes sense. Meaning what it felt like to keep fighting the urge of nah, 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 this ain't what it, that's that control. That's that control. When we don't have control over certain things, it becomes so foreign to us sometimes because again, it's easier to fight against it, and then you're draining yourself even more. You're becoming tired again, becoming restless, maybe even. But for me, yeah, I had to teach myself how to feel my feelings because sometimes I don't like being there, but I've learned in being there, it actually goes past a lot faster than when you're fighting it.
Let
Like
it
it be
flow.
going like
Let
that.
it
It be like,
flow. No,
yes.
for real. It really does. And people don't understand that, because a lot of times we're trying to control situations that are outside of our control. And that's where the resistance comes in. So
Mm-hmm.
when you learn to surrender, it really it allows you to, number one, relax. It
Yeah.
allows you to let it pass. And it also allows you to understand that we are not always in control. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only control what you can. And unfortunately, you can't sometimes control your emotions, but you can
Mm-hmm.
control how you respond to it, right? But allowing
Yes.
yourself to feel it is the main thing. But I want to go back to something you said. I know you said in the beginning you were going through a separation.
Mm-hmm.
So how long were you in the relationship?
Oof. So I was 15. So given my age, I'm 39 now. So 15 up into, so that's, I really gotta get these years. 2001 until 2017. So that's a
16 years.
16 years. Yeah, about 16 years or so.
Okay.
Um, and that separation is where the loss of control came into play where I felt I was going crazy. But
Yeah.
nobody probably around me would know that because my happy go lucky self, I use my happiness, my smiles, my chipperness as a defense mechanism. When
Right.
I'm happy and it stops people from asking me questions where I don't feel comfortable, it kind of also, it's kind of like a play on words, or but a play on my mind, like,
Yeah.
girl, please, you fine, you'll be fine, you'll get over it, you'll be that. When in reality, again, I'm suppressing it, pushing it to the side, not trying to feel my feels, you know? So, yeah, that was a 16
16
year,
years is a long time.
that was
Very
my
long
whole childhood
time.
slash middle of my
Yeah.
adulthood.
Right. And that's the thing too. When you're with somebody for that amount of time, like when you're, growing, you guys are growing, you're coming into who you are, he's coming into who he
Hmm.
is, and you guys are learning yourselves and learning the new each other, the new person, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you were there any type of mechanisms or any type of disciplines you use to kind of help yourself through that transition?
Well, at the time of the separation, before, because we did end up divorcing, but at the time of the separation, ironic enough, I was in a job, and I didn't really like that job as much anymore because I've started learning through the job there were other things I could do with my life, i.e., the job that I had was in the beauty industry, but I met a lot of people that were photographers. I met a lot of people in that industry that, fashion, all that. I used to model. So it brought me back to certain things that I used to like. Then there was also spaces in that position or in that job, atmosphere that let me know, oh, people out here and they're media people. They're like, journalists. There's more. So I remember having a dream, and it was after a photo shoot I did with someone that I called my child, and her boyfriend at the time, God rest his soul, he passed away. But it was a picture of them. It was an athletic picture, right? And I had a dream, and I saw that picture that I took on a magazine. So it gets crazy. So after seeing that, I woke up the next day, I jumped on Canva, and I realized Canva had these templates as if, you want to make a magazine, like funny ones that are whatever that people do. Not sitting here now, like, so I put their picture on the cover that I saw in my dream, and I'm like, hmm, made it look all nice and stuff. And I'm like, hmm. And then, again, these are things that came to me because it was not, I won't say acceptable. It was not in my best interest to sit in that depression that I was about to feel. And I say about to feel because I never got a chance to feel it until later on in life. And I'll tell you why later. But in those moments, I was still kind of on the, okay, I gotta keep moving. I'm still at this job. I'm still working this. But now there's something else that needs to come out of Ebony, right? So after that, I came up with Everyday Melanin magazine.
I remember
Um,
that. I remember.
yeah, that
Yeah.
baby was launched in 2018, which is actually right after, like, the separation that I was going through was kind of like, I won't say complete, but we were like out of the same space or whatever. And I just, what my thing, how Medea was with a calculator and she just type it away,
Ah,
whatever. That was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was my mindset. That was how I was moving. I was just like, oh, I got to get these thoughts out. I
Mhm.
want to just, I just want to give back to people. I want to, and so many people in my circle at that time were doing so many great things. I said, they don't have anything out here in Trenton for people to like highlight the greatness of what's going on.
Right.
After, though, they started coming out with certain things, thank God, because I mean, everybody has to say so. Everybody should be shined, had a light shine upon them. So,
Right.
nonetheless, that mechanism, or that key thing that kept me going was I knew I couldn't quit. I knew I couldn't give up, and I knew I couldn't give in. And I only knew all that because of how I was raised. my grandparents being evangelists, always, preaching positivity, preaching, keep going, don't give up, don't stop, like those kind of things. And I ain't gonna lie too, it can be tedious because it's like, nah, I want to give up this day, like at least a day. Like today, I just want to quit. Is it okay? I'll come back
Yeah.
to it tomorrow,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, that I would say helped me get through for the next 2.5, 3 years. The magazine did, because it was busy work. It was keeping
Yeah.
me going.
Yeah.
And then I finally was like, let me just add on a podcast with this. And then I started doing that. And I finally like sat and I'm like, nah, this isn't it. This isn't it for me anymore. And after I let those things go was when it all hit me that the separation was a real thing. The divorce was a real thing. And I had to sit in that. I had to
So
sit in that.
do you think that because you occupied your mind with starting a magazine and doing the podcast, do you think that they were essentially like fillers for you, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
that was
absolutely. They
like
were
a
my voids. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have to actually deal with your reality. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
that that's fair to say?
Yeah, it is. And you know what? It's the safest way that I did it too, because I could have easily filled those voids with people. You know what I mean? Like people
People,
or
drugs,
substances.
all time. Yep. That's a good thing because
Eh,
you filled it with productivity. It wasn't
right.
anything negative to exacerbate what you
But
were already feeling.
to me, if I'm still honest though, even with myself today, while it was positive productivity on the outside, on the inside, I was tearing myself up. So, and I still was no good to my kids because I wasn't mentally there. You get what I'm saying? Because
Right.
now I'm worried about all the other busy work I got to get done and all the other stuff. So I still wasn't present in a sense. So, yeah.
Listen, I get it. You know my story, so I 100% get it. And the good thing is we can look back and learn and see how far we've come,
Yeah.
and in an effort to help other people too, because there's other people who are in our shoes, other people who don't think
Mm-hmm.
they can get beyond their current circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I really can relate to that, kind of using substance. So like with me,
Yeah.
I love shoes. And when I was going through it, like I have a whole walk-in closet full of shoes that I don't even intend on ever wearing because I'm older now and I don't know if my ankle can handle it. Okay. But I love a bad shoe. So I would
Yeah.
go in the store and buy shoes and be like, ooh, put them in my closet. It looks good, but that problem remains. So
Mm-hmm.
the retail therapy helped me for being in that moment, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a permanent
It's
solution.
temporary.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very temporary thing because once you put those shoes up and you're going about your day, that problem still exists,
Yep.
right? So people have to become comfortable with confronting what they feel and being
Yeah.
unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves and be like, oh, you shouldn't feel like this, or you got to get past this. You just got to chill. You just got to chill and let it take its course because everything's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Even separation, losing a job,
Mm-hmm.
losing your home. Not saying you lost your home, but leaving your home. Everything is a process. You have to fundamentally process these things because if you think about it,
Absolutely.
when you get a job, it's a process. When you're buying a home, it's a process. When you're getting an apartment, it's a process. When you're buying a car, it's everything in life
Mm-hmm.
is a process. So we have to be more kind and empathetic to ourselves to allow ourselves to
Yeah.
go through the process. Now, when you're going through it, is it fun? Absolutely not.
Hell no.
Absolutely not. It's treacherous, even. Like, oh my God, it's
Come
crazy there.
on, man. Let's go.
It's crazy there. Oh my God. But you get beyond it. It's a fact. You
Mm-hmm.
get beyond it. And it's something
Mm-hmm.
that you can carry with you for the next circumstance because life is never going to stop lifing. But am I right? Am I
Ever.
right? It's
Ever.
never because once you conquer one thing, something else can, people
Yep.
pass away every day.
Yep.
People get laid off every day. People You know, there's a plethora of people break up. There's a plethora of situations that will not work in your favor at all times, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
know how to sustain. You have to know how to allow yourself to be human and feel your feelings and feel
Yep.
unapologetic about it. And in the process, you have to be kind to yourself and allow yourself, peace, doing something that makes you happy to kind of rebuild
Yeah.
those feelings, because negativity takes so much out of you. You know what I mean? So to be able to
Girl.
refill your cup with something positive, a massage, getting a mani and a
Mm-hmm.
pedi,
That's
or a facial,
self-care, man. Listen.
everything. And it's essential when you're really going through it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I had asked you, like, what methods did you use when you were going through it? Because I think when you're
Then I did nothing. Then I
exactly,
did nothing.
that's the
But
thing.
now,
It's
today,
a
now,
lesson.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's trial and error because at that time I would have never known what worked for me. To me,
Right.
I'm thinking to continue working is what my self-care is like because I literally never lived a life where okay, maybe I take that back. I used to be very big on self care when I was probably in middle school and didn't even realize it until I look back to say, oh man, I used to really take care of myself. I used to do my own nails. Eat, sorry, y'all, shaving my own legs and stuff like those kind of things. Like it
No
made me
accent? You didn't what?
happy.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, not then. That Nair stuff, man, that thing
Yeah,
stank.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I remember that. Oh man.
but no, but it was just those little minute things. And I used to always light a candle and sit in my room and journal. I always did that. I
Relaxing.
am back
So
in
relaxing.
that now. I am back in that now. And I'm
Good.
like, wow. Granted, I added a few other things, which is eating, but it's eating my favorite foods. And and I don't want to sound like, oh man, she eating to get fat. No, 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 no. I'm eating my favorite foods to celebrate. Just yesterday, I celebrated myself on an accomplishment that I did because at the same time, I'm like, I really don't. And it's not to say I don't need people, but I don't need nobody to celebrate me, to validate me, to do any of that stuff. So I had
Absolutely.
two drinks during the day. I probably shouldn't have, but I did it
Why?
anyway,
Why?
girl, because
I
I was
probably had
lit.
3 or 4.
I was lit. And I still had,
Celebration, honey.
and I was lit, still had to drive
Oh,
and
okay, okay,
because I was out having lunch with myself. But no, but nonetheless, I just feel like those little things that were so minute when I used to think, no, 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 you can't do these things for yourself. You got to work. That's where the good stuff is. That's where the success is. No, the success is literally in feeding your soul whatever it is in that moment that it is
Yes,
crying for. And
yes,
mine was crying for like just again that peace,
yes,
regaining that peace. So through the
yes.
years, through trial and error, I never knew what I needed until what I needed was really me back in middle school, what I used to do in middle school. I used to eat then too. So it's like
Girl, I love to eat.
long as y'all give me my favorite food, I'm great.
Right.
Eating cookie dough. That, for me,
It
I
makes
eat
you
cookie.
happy. It's satisfying. It's
Ma'am,
satisfying. Like,
I will buy a whole thing of cookie dough, cut off a little portion of it, sit in my bed with my cold water with ice in it, and watching Power or something like the series.
mm,
Just
mm.
eat it up. And that just brings down everything in that day, that
Yeah,
week, whatever made me feel like I wanted to hook somebody up. Like, you know what I mean? Like those were that is my mechanisms and what I do now.
but I think that a lot of people don't really realize how expensive peace is until you don't have it. Right? When it's been disrupted, mine was disrupted for 3 years straight. And every problem I had essentially took on a life of its own. And I now understand the
Mm,
power of peace. I understand
mm-hmm.
its vitality.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you allow people and things to
Oof.
disrupt it, and that we are in control of our peace. And
Mm-hmm.
again, once you lose that, you understand that that is something so expensive that money can't buy. I don't care if you are a celebrity. I don't care if you are a
Yep.
Fortune 500 company. I don't care
Yep.
if you're LGBTQ. I don't care if you're male, female. I don't care. At the end of
Anybody.
the day, anybody, no one's exempt. Peace is everything. Peace is everything. And when you don't have that, you're non-functional. And it's
Mm-hmm.
non-conducive to anything, whether it be your kids, your relationship, your job, because you just have so much on you,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no escape. It's just in here, and you can't escape your mind. Your mind's with you 24/7.
And you know what? I want to add to that. I realized too, when your peace is disrupted, because I've noticed I've been doing this, and then I notice people around me that lose their peace, they do it. We tend to project that lost peace that we don't have in us. So it can be anger, it could be frustration, it could be, again, a whole world of confusion, it could be no clarity, like it, again, losing the mind, and just it could be a plethora of things that we push onto others surrounding us,
Yeah,
causing, again, a non-peaceful atmosphere.
absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, just even the self-care, right? Making sure you celebrate yourself. We can't rely on other people to fill our cups, and we can't rely on others to ensure that we stay in a peaceful mental space. That is solely our
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. We are
Mm-hmm.
responsible for that. So, sometimes you have to cut out certain friends. You may have to cut out certain family members, or
Absolutely.
take them in doses, or monitor the amount of time you're in their presence or they're in yours. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
if this, you don't want to cut a certain family member or friend off because you love them, I get it. And you're not ready to cut them off. You go make sure you're in control of that situation. So if you go somewhere, don't let them
Mm-hmm.
come to your house, because then they leave when they're ready. You go to their house and you meet them
Absolutely.
out. That way you can control the
Absolutely.
situation and be like, okay, well, I gotta go. But because once you've had
Yep.
enough, you can disconnect, right?
Yep.
But peace is a very, very, very underrated
It
blessing.
is. It
It's
is.
yeah, and the power to control it is underrated in its totality,
It
because
is hard. It is
it
hard.
is. It's very hard. And some of the things that I did when I was going through my journey, the marijuana, I was
Mm-hmm.
smoking for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And marijuana, it kind of makes you withdraw, you chilling, you not think about nothing, you stoned, you eating, you watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of
Mm-hmm.
that high, that problem remains, similar to my retail therapy. Everything that I
Mm-hmm.
tried to do with myself, the problem remained, right? And there was nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And until God completely shut me down,
Yep.
it's when God shut me down to be like, listen, this is what, like, when I was suicidal. It's no
Mm-hmm.
secret.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was spiraling, I was crying to God, and I said, I feel like I'm breaking because I didn't know what to do, because everything I did
Mm-hmm.
was not working. And
Mm-hmm.
God said to me, sometimes I have to break you down to build you
Yes.
back up. And that is
Yes.
something that I will never in my life
Yes.
forget. And that was pivotal for me at that point in time, because that marked when my journey really, really began. And God took me through the ringer for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I am so much better. My mindset is different. My perception, the ability to control,
Mm-hmm.
my peace, the
Mm-hmm.
ability to disconnect from things that's not
Without feeling
contributing to,
guilt.
right. Like, I'm in complete control. And I also understand that I can't control everything. God's in control. So if there's something that I can control and I know it, I'm not going to fight it and try to control it. Whereas I used to.
I
But
feel
that's
like
where the issue was.
I feel like what you said as far as God breaking you down is so real, because so right when the separation happened, 2 years after that, again, busy work, busy work, busy work.
Mhm.
I stopped that busy work, and that's when I resigned from my job because I couldn't. My body was just shutting down. God, that was, again, that was God shutting me down. I think I told you this briefly before. So I looked at it as me taking a personal L, but I also knew it was because if you ever had a feeling of knowing that you got to get up to do something that you don't want to wholeheartedly do because your heart's not in it, your mind's not in it, your soul's not in it, but you also, this is the key, you manifested years before, you planted a seed years before, not realizing that when you say something and God's listening, God's going to literally hold you accountable to that. So the day I was about to get up to go to work, the day I was about to get up to go to work, you know how I said I get anxiety and stuff like that when certain things are happening. Okay, well, I felt like somebody was just literally sitting on my chest that morning. And I'm like, I gotta get up, but I can't move. I gotta get up. I can't move. God, I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work. Didn't go to work that day. Ended up in the hospital, and they said, I was having a panic attack or whatever. And then I stayed out of work. My job kept calling me while I was still at the hospital. We need to know. Da, 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 da. I'm like,
I'm
guys,
in
y'all
the
know what?
hospital, bro.
I'm like,
Like,
what? But they don't care if you die or not. They just want what they
true.
want. Cool. So again, in my mind, I'm like, but I am now feeling, again, going backwards, now feeling what I've avoided for so long, ran away from for so long because I didn't want to feel it then, not realizing Eb is going to catch up with you because it doesn't leave. The problem doesn't leave.
Not leave. Yes, yes.
So again, that was God showing his face like, sis, remember what you said to me. You ain't want to work here. You wanted to run this magazine. You wanted to do this. You wanted to do that. Why are you
Yes.
getting up to go to work today?
So
I'm
you're gonna sit down.
preparing
You're gonna
you.
sit down. Right.
This is where you're going
Right.
to be at right here.
Yeah. You're not getting
I,
up today. What are you
in
what you
that space, yes, in that space, it dawned on me. I'm like, oh shit. Like last year at this same time, I said I wanted this. All right, God, I see what you're doing. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill.
Yo, God is,
He's a
listen, he has a
comedian.
very, he has a very funny sense of humor. You know, he has a very funny sense of humor because even too, like before my whole journey began, I used to, feel a way like when I see people doing different things, like that's their purpose, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they're forcing themselves, it's organic. And I used to be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, don't forget about me. Like, where's my purpose? Like, I just knew, like, yeah, I was working a job and I was getting promoted. That was satisfactory for me. But I could see you were one of them. You started your magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you was just
Mm-hmm.
so free. Although I didn't know you was going through things, but it was the picture that you depicted, right?
Absolutely.
And I learned in that you got to be careful what you ask God for because when you ask, He's going to answer.
And
It may
it
not
comes
be when
and
you
it
want
comes
it.
with some look, and it
Yeah.
comes
Oh
with
yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's gonna give it to you, but in his time, not when you want it. He's going to give it to you in the right
Absolutely.
time. And
Absolutely.
this was my purpose. So everything that I've endured and went through, God
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to overcome that. And he
Mm-hmm.
reshaped and renewed my mind and my
Yeah.
perspective on everything, my
Yeah.
attitude, the way I think. And I've
Yep.
always been good with giving people advice, listening, active listening. That's always been
Mm-hmm.
something natural for me. But now I'm in a different realm. And I
Yep.
understand that because I kept asking God, I kept poking him, excuse me, Dad,
Hello.
put me in, coach. Like I want my purpose. What's my purpose? I used to feel so
Left
like
out, you feel?
I
You
yes,
think?
left out. And I just felt away because I'm like, dang, like I'm 30 something years old, I'm getting older. I don't even know
Mm-hmm.
what my purpose is here. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand it. And
Mm-hmm.
when back then, when I didn't understand something, I would get frustrated. You know what
And
I'm saying?
probably act out on it and
Yeah, like,
everything.
and I just
Mm-hmm.
felt like I'm gonna go shoe shopping. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
was what pacified me.
Impulse.
Yeah,
I get
but
that. I
but
get it.
God had to do it in his time when
Yeah.
he knew that I would be receptive to the breakdown. It was a forced shutdown. I didn't go willingly. I was
Listen.
fighting, kicking, scratching
Listen.
the walls, holding on to the ledge. Like I was, yeah, girl, I was doing it all. Okay, I was doing it all. Yeah, kicking, fighting, scratching, biting. God, like, girl, listen, this is what you asked me for. So now you gotta put your big girl panties on and let's get it right because you have
But
a purpose to do.
you know what's so funny about all of this though? God literally be sending us the signs all the time. He be smacking us upside the head real quick, just tapping us on the shoulder and everything. And we just be hard headed, like, nah, I'm
Yep,
good. I got this. I
yep.
got this.
And then that's what he
And
has
we
to
don't
show
have
us.
it.
He's sovereign. You don't got this. I got
We
this. And
don't
I
got
said you're going to
this.
do this. And this is what's
My
going to
in
happen.
my way, on
And
my
in my
time.
time. And that's what happened. And he
Mm-hmm.
completely revamped it. And it was terrible going through it. I can still feel the emotion. And I'm okay with that because it just shows me how far I've come. And I
Yes.
understand when other people talk to me, a lot of people do. People call me, text me, they inbox me, and I would never discuss that. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that God allows people to relate to me in that regard and that people trust me with their
Mm-hmm.
vulnerabilities. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also grateful that I can still feel some of the emotions that I felt when I was going through it, because it really helps me to connect with them and empathize and
Right.
give them a good enough response, a
Trust
good.
me, God will never let us forget. He I feel like he will never let us go back, but he also won't let us forget. It's humbling. It's
I don't want
humbling.
to go back. I was a piece of work.
Listen,
I was a piece of work. I don't want to go back there.
I don't I don't know who I succumbed to when I was there, because I'm sitting here like this people pleaser of who I am today. People don't like me. And I think I told you that. I'm the opposite.
Good.
People don't like me today. And I'm like, what the
Who
fuck?
cares? Because at the end of the
with
day,
love. Look, wait, I don't give a fuck with love.
when you're self-validated, other people's opinions of you doesn't really hold any weight.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing that's always been good about me. I've never cared about that.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't like me, I
That's a
mean,
fact though.
you know that, right? You know me for a
I
long
know that.
time. I do not care. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Sorry, not sorry.
exactly, because I understand. That's something I understand. I understand that not everybody's going to like you in life, and you have to be
Absolutely.
okay with that. I am 100% okay with that. You don't like me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My life's not going to stop.
And that
My
is not a you
bank
problem.
accounts is not going to be any less. So I thank God don't care about that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still like just being like that is, I don't know, like it's I'm grateful. That's
It's a bit
I'm gonna just leave it
much.
there. I'm
It's a
just
bit
grateful.
much. It's a bit much. But I will say this though. I feel like because you were talking about purpose and when you were waiting and everything, I've learned what mine was. Even when I started the magazine, I've learned my purpose was to help. I'm a helper. I love to be of some type of help. So I currently now run my basketball program and stuff, which I've, left behind me years ago as far as basketball is concerned, because I thought everything else was something I loved to do, was what I needed to do.
Right.
But God redirected me and he brought me back to my first love, which is basketball. And he's like, I'm placing you here. So in that, and I'll have to tell you off this screen, in
Okay.
that I have been placed somewhere where I can really help. And it was a shock to me. And one thing about it is I've also learned to not to tell everybody my win, or not share all my wins, right? Not everybody is going to be there in that same space you are
Yeah.
when you're celebrating yourself. Hence why I celebrated myself yesterday.
Right.
um I was asked the question, oh my God, how'd you get that? Right? Just how I said it. How'd you get that? Without saying congrats and stuff. And me being me, with certain people, I get real sensitive because it's like, why you acting stank like that? Why you hating on me?
Yeah.
But
You ain't on my parade.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I asked myself the same thing. And I'm like, God, I had to sit in it because I didn't like how that person said it to me. But it's like, how can I not like when they say it? And I'm saying it to myself too, like as if I'm not deserving, right? But I realized, I'm like, I know how I got that. Whatever I did prior to, you already know, whatever I did prior to, God saw fit and he kept me in that same space.
Yep.
I say I was in the right place at the right time, because the person that saw me doing whatever was like, I need her. And it's like, good looking out, God.
Hey, yes.
And I have a cousin, and she's gonna be so happy I say this. I have a cousin because her dad, rest in peace to him, told her this saying, why not me? Why not you? In a sense. So while I'm here asking me, why not me? I'm here. Like,
That's right. That's
and that's
right.
with everything across the board. Why
Yeah.
not me?
It's funny. Like, my sister is the first person who said that. She, when I was going through what I was going through, I was talking to her and I had said something to that effect, like, well, why me? And she, she at that time, she was like, in church or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I'm gonna tell you, like the pastor said to me, well, why not you? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that's something that stuck with me. So the fact that you're like the second person that said that is like awesome, because it's the truth.
Confirmation.
Yeah, it's the truth. Like, why
It
not you?
is.
Don't
It
count
is.
yourself out.
Even through all the hardship and all the pain and all the treacherous stuff, if we sat here and continued to say why me, we would never get to the glory part of it. We would never see the glory of it. You know, you like
You're
feel
looking
me?
at the
Like it's
negative
like
part of it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's going to keep you there. So no,
Yeah.
I know we could preach all night, but I just
Girl, listen, I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. But I will say I don't know exactly what it is. I know it's something good though, and I do want to congratulate you for that.
thank
So we're
you.
definitely gonna have to go out and celebrate because I'm big on celebrating accomplishments. Um,
Save.
you know, that's not just talk.
Oh, I
'Cause
already
I
know.
don't just talk.
Oh, I already know. We
Okay.
look, we show and prove over
Yes,
here.
yes,
Like
yes. I don't just
we
talk.
show and
Look,
prove and we show up.
yes, yes, yes. And I want to um celebrate your victories, you know,
Thank
and you're
you.
welcome. And getting through a divorce, I know that I've never been married, but I know that that can be tough. I want to, you know, just, you know, creating a magazine and, you know, doing different things that you've had to let go. I
Mm-hmm.
know the emotions that are felt behind that, but I just want to encourage you to keep going, and to
Thank
know
you.
that you're welcome, that God puts us where we need to be when we need to be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I just kind of want to recap, you know, basically, you know, well, oh, go ahead and cry. It's okay.
No, I'm not crying. I ain't got no tissues. God damn, I'm a G.
It's
No.
okay.
I'm a G. I ain't crying. I'm gonna drink this water. We're
Oh
not
my
doing this today.
God.
Okay, continue.
Okay. All right. All right. All right.
Therapy session.
Yeah, I'm for it, girl.
I
Listen,
mean, look,
I am
this was
for
it for
it.
me. This I
Yeah.
needed to get it out. So thank
See,
you.
and I'm grateful that I was able to assist you in that because you can't keep things inside. You can't keep feelings inside. Even, you know, even if people don't celebrate your victories, like you said, self celebration,
Mm-hmm.
giving your own self your roses and just self validating, you won't need,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the kudos of anyone else besides yourself and
Exactly.
God. That's it. That's all you really need.
Exactly.
Anybody else that gives you that is a bonus. It's not a necessity, right?
That's a
Um,
fact.
so, you know, just again, I want to commend you for staying in place while, you know, you were losing control and understanding what you needed to do to regain your peace. People really need to hear these types of stories so they know that there are other people out there who share similar
Mm-hmm.
stories, who go through things, and then they're not alone. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, before we go, is there anything, any type of encouragement you want to provide, or any kind of like tactics you want to give them on how to, you know,
So I will say this because in this time space that I spoke of, one thing I didn't mention, which I failed to mention, was I did go to therapy. I didn't stay there. I went, and it was during the pandemic. So I went maybe like 3 times.
okay,
Not to say that it didn't help me, but I for myself, and this is true, I think, for a lot of us. I think when we know if something isn't working in that moment, it is okay to step away and not feel bad to step away. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Not bad to step away from that. So I stepped away from the therapy to do more self healing, more prayer, more Bible work, more like, you know what I mean? Again, finding the right people to be around at those times. I talked to you a couple of times. I talked to my cousin a couple of times. So, you know what I mean? So it's like in that I truly feel like therapy is great. It works for those that want to work with it. You feel me? So
absolutely.
in all of that, that would be just my major takeaway. And y'all listen, if you have to stop for a moment, that's okay. But only a moment. Don't stay there. Please don't stay
Stay
there.
there. Absolutely,
Do not stay there.
absolutely
Ain't
not
nothing there.
at all. But grief, misery, and negativity. You got to keep it pushing. You have to. You
Listen,
have to. That's how you
so
grow.
much more on the other side. I
Yeah.
promise you. And again, it's where, like they say, the grass is actually greener where you water it. You got to water yourselves.
Absolutely. And I do want to kind of piggyback real quick off of the therapy advice you just gave. I will say the same thing. So, you know, some people go indefinitely. Some people go for 3 sessions,
Mm-hmm.
such as yourself. Some people go for a few months. I think that sometimes that starts the framework. right? So sometimes they give you the
Mm-hmm.
basis. When you don't know what's going on, sometimes they are able to
Right.
unveil the basis of certain things that you may not have been aware of. So while you're stepping away, you're now
Mm-hmm.
working on what they just made you aware of. So that's not to
Absolutely.
say it didn't work for you. It just served its purpose,
Absolutely.
right? It served its purpose.
Absolutely.
Some people need to continually go. Not everybody does. I too went to therapy years ago. This is prior to
Mm-hmm.
my journey or what have you. But I did go because I knew that there was something there that I couldn't figure out. And I went for a few months and I love her. I still love her. Like I would go today if I needed to because I'm
Mm-hmm.
pro therapy. I think that they, again, help uncover some things
Same.
that we're not cognizant of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, just, for what you said, I want to let you know that you more than likely that served its purpose for you. It wasn't like you needed it long term.
Exactly.
Some people do, some people don't. Some people never get therapy, but I am pro therapy. I think it does help. I think it's
Same.
conducive
It
to,
is.
the self healing, the self help,
But you
and
gotta want it.
you have,
You
and that's the
gotta
thing.
want it.
You have to want it because no one can want it more than you. Because if somebody else
Mm-hmm.
wants it more than you, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to want to do. Excuse me. You're going to want to have to change, and it's going to be work. It is not going to be easy. It's not wake up and it's all roses and sunshines and rainbows. It's not like that. It's going to be a lot
Nope.
of thunderstorms. It's going to be a lot of hailing. It's going to be a lot of floods, flash floods. It's scary, but when you are
Mm-hmm.
anchored in your higher power, I promise you, them storms will be so worth it once God allows the
Absolutely.
clouds to clear and the rain to dry up. It is the best thing you can do for yourself and for those around you is to become a
Yep.
better version of yourself. So I encourage you all, like Ebony said, therapy is everything. If you're open to that, and if not, I want to know why. Put it in the chat in the comments, or you can even message me. I want to know why because maybe I could change your perception on all that. But Ebony, I thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on and sharing your story and giving us your opinions on things. It was awesome, and I do want to actually have you back for a different type of conversation. Uh,
Ooh.
so we'll talk about that over food and drinks for your
I'm glad
celebration.
you said food.
Listen, I'm big girl. I love to eat. I'm old now. That's all I want to do is eat. I don't want to party. I want to go eat. Where are we going? We going to eat? Oh, okay, all right. And I could be home by 9 to the clock. Listen, that's what we
Thank you,
doing. You're
girl.
welcome.
Look,
So we'll
I'm
definitely,
here for it.
yes, yes. So we'll definitely talk about that over dinner and drinks. But again, I thank you for coming on. I thank all of my viewers for watching another episode of My Matters, and I will another episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.